Happy Valentine's Day. Today is Tuesday, February 14th. I'm Christina Dillabo, and this is Tuesday Talks, a weekly gathering with church communicators and clergy and church staff. I mean, all sorts of people that want to know what's going on and maybe want to share a little bit of news about what's going on at their church as well. So today I'm going to get us started with, oh, happy birthday, Arizona. I had no idea that today was Arizona's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Arizona. So there you go, communicators. If you were looking for something to post a little extra special about Valentine's Day, throw that out there. Do a little birthday wish on social media for Arizona, and that could likely get shared quite a bit. All
It's
right.
St. Paul's birthday as well.
Who is it?
It's St. Paul's birthday as
St.
well.
Paul's? Oh my goodness. That's so awesome. All right. Well, then as a conference communicator, I need to get on posting a happy birthday to happy Origin Day.
I said happy birthday,
Okay.
St. Paul's. It's nice and easy. Everybody
Thank you.
knows what it means.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that. Thank you.
Feel free to share the stuff on our Facebook page if the conference is following it, because I made stories and posts for it.
Oh, nice. Lovely. Oh, that's good. That's what I'll do instead. I'll share what St. Paul's has posted. Thank you. So speaking of things that we might not be aware of, and maybe other people know of it, but as a communicator, that it's helpful to be ready with the latest and greatest, the stories and whatever. I want to give you kind of a heads up that basically 1 month from today, so it's really early notice, Patricia Pegram from the Desert Southwest Conference Camping and Retreat Ministries. She's the administrator, registrar, the end-all be-all for Camping and Retreat Ministries, both at Mingus and Potosi Pines. She's going to join us to talk to you all about the upcoming Camping and Retreat Ministry schedule. So start thinking now about any questions you might have or your needs to be able to publicize the Camping and Retreat items for the summer. Camping and Retreat Ministries is not just for children. So if your church doesn't have any kids that are participating all the time, it doesn't mean like, I'm just going to shelf that. I don't need to share about that. There's plenty of opportunities for volunteering, but also the actual events themselves. There's plenty of stuff that's maybe like a women's retreat, a father and son thing, a mother and child, I think. I don't know if it's son or daughter, but anyway, there's lots of stuff available. So Patricia's going to be there. She's going to tell you all about what's coming up and answer questions, but I'm going to send you her email address as well, so you can email her in advance. So 1 month from today, on March 14th, she'll be joining us on Tuesday Talks. So if you can start thinking about it now, email her and ask her whatever questions. She'll be ready with the answers when she joins us for Tuesday Talks in 1 month. The other one that is coming up in 2 weeks, so last Tuesday in February, I think it's the 28th, Billy Fidlin, the Director of Justice and Outreach for the Desert Southwest Conference, will be joining us to talk about, give us a little bit of an update on what's happening in Ukraine and Turkey and Syria, Syria, because you as a communicator might need to publish something. Maybe you've heard conversations about, does our church need to do something to help? How can we participate? How can we, where do we give? Where shouldn't we get, all that stuff. So Billy's going to join us and talk to you a little bit about what's going on. So you have a little bit of background knowledge, but then also guide you on, here's where you can find information that you can post. Here's a link that you can share to give towards whatever. So if you have questions about that or recommendations or any needs that you would need to be able to share that news, I'll also send you Billy's email address so you can email her in advance so she's ready in 2 weeks when she joins us. Okay, questions about either one of those? No? Okay. Then the next item that I want to talk to you about is the Bishop's Installation Service. So this is a big deal worship service where we celebrate and I don't know, announce, introduce, whatever, our new bishop, Bishop Carlo Rapanute. The event is going to be on March 11th at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is at I think it's St. Matthew. Is it St. Matthew? Thank you. And it's going to be live streamed. It is an in-person event. It's also going to be available on Zoom. So that all seems kind of confusing. I think it could be very confusing, especially because we're also asking for people to register regardless of how they're going to attend. So this is where I need your help, communicators, communication liaisons. I need you to help spread the word about what's going on and that they will need to register. We need registration for multiple reasons. There is going to be kind of a fellowship time afterwards. So that is easy enough to understand why in-person people would need to register, because they need to know how much to have of refreshments. But for the live stream and Zoom people, so if somebody's just going to watch the event from home, or maybe they're going to have a group viewing at their church, they could easily just do the live stream. We do want to keep track of how many people and what areas are joining us. I can't remember why it is for the live stream. I was going to be prepared why we needed the registration numbers for that. But people will get the link to register, for the live stream if they register. So number one, for the people that are looking for, well, where's the link? I don't see it on the website. They need to register and then they'll get the link. Now, why would they do Zoom? So the live stream is going to have the people talking and the slides, and we're going to have American Sign Language interpreter there, and they'll be on camera. But the Zoom is going to have closed captioning in whatever language people need. Within the number of languages that Zoom offers, but Korean, Spanish, those are all going to be available. So if you have someone at your church, or your church is a community of mostly Spanish speaking people, mostly Korean speaking people, if that's their primary language they're comfortable with, you can let them know. They can register and they will be able to join via Zoom and select the closed caption option. So they'll still hear it in English, but they'll see in the language that they prefer everything that's being said. For those people that attend in person, in addition to the American Sign Language interpretation, we will have Korean and Spanish interpreters. So when people show up, they'll need to check in. And that's another reason why we need some registration for in person is we need to know how many translation devices to bring along. And they'll get instructions right when you walk in to the sanctuary in the narthex. There'll be kind of a check-in table for the translation equipment that they can check out, and they'll get any instructions if there's special seating where they should sit to get the maximum signal. So questions about that? Go ahead, Sherry.
I signed up for live stream, and then 2 days later I got a notification that I must attend something during that time period. Is it going to be something that we can go back and pull up the video later? Because I really would like to see it. Is that going to be available?
Yes, great question. Thank you. I don't even think that I had that written down as a don't forget. This event will be live streamed and recorded. So especially if you registered, and that's another great reason why people should register. We try to do follow-up messaging for people, like if they missed, then they'll get the links to here's where the recording was available. So be sure to register, even if you can't make it. Share that detail with your peeps. And then Megan, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm being talked to in my office. I was just wondering why there's a Zoom option and a live stream option when you could just live stream the Zoom, like, to YouTube. Yeah, I understand all the closed captioning stuff like that. That's not the problem. I was just to make everybody's life easier, just live stream the Zoom. Well, I throw it out there. That was all.
Yeah, thank you. And technically, that is what I'm live streaming on the Zoom. That particular church doesn't have a whole lot of bandwidth. And so it's easier for them to just send the live stream. They're not connected on their church worship computer to Zoom. And so I'm going to be running a Zoom on my own. And hopefully there's not a ton of people that need the closed captioning. So that's going to kind of minimize the number of people connected to it, and it won't be as much bandwidth used up.
And just as a suggestion, given that when we hosted the district event here, we had massive internet connectivity issues, even though it wasn't standardly like that, I would recommend that somebody's recording the whole thing as well, so that you all can upload that if needed later, because I know our district event did not go very well online. It was not, I was very disappointed in our internet that day, but they love you.
Yep, happens to the best of us. And yes, it will be recorded. So that will share the recording link after the event. What else? So I will be sharing with you all the link to the article that was already shared in the Desert Southwest Conference Weekly Digest, the invitation to Bishop Carlo A. Rapanu's installation service. You can copy and paste the whole thing, and there is a button in there that has the registration link. I also have so if you don't know how to get that link, just right click on the button and select copy URL, and then there you go, you've got the link, and you can hyperlink it to language in the article, maybe add a click here to register. If your website doesn't have buttons, and just copying from my web page doesn't create a button, that's why I'm explaining you could do it this way. Then I'm also going to include a direct link to download the save the date graphic that has the date, location, and time in it. But just remember to let people know that they need to register. And ideally, they're all registering no later than March 1st. So there's not a whole lot of time left. So I'm going to try to quickly send my follow-up notes today so that you've got it right away. So hopefully you can send it out today. Today, maybe send it again next week. Whatever works best at your church, your community, go ahead and do that. All right. If there's no more questions about that, then I'll move on to leadership talks. Any questions? Okay. So I'm going to start out by acknowledging that I am aware that last night there were some connection issues with the leadership talk. I don't know if every single person, but it sounds to me like everybody that tried to join experienced some technical difficulties. I haven't had time yet to research to see what happened with this particular one that was different than others, because this is the first time that we've had that issue. So I want to check it out to see what we need to change to make sure that next month's leadership talk doesn't have the same issue. But also, and so you all might end up getting some kickback or feedback, negative complaints, whatever. Like, hey, I went to that leadership talk you told me about, and I couldn't join, and so now what do I do? So you need to know what to tell them. So I'm going to provide a link for you to quickly you can find it if you go to the homepage of the Desert Southwest Conference and you go to the Clergy Lay Leadership Development page. There's a green button right at the top in all caps that says go to Leadership Talk videos. But then also, if you just scroll to the bottom, you'll also see the recordings there. Either way, you'll find the recordings for previous events. Last night's is not there yet, but it will be available there, link there if you start on the Clergy Lay Leadership Development page. Alrighty. Okay, so next month's leadership talk is going to be Start with Why, and the guest presenter is our very own Sherry Hull, the chair of the Commission on Communication for the Desert Southwest Conference. And I know as a communicator, sometimes it's tough to share or reshare or invite people or explain, like, this is why you don't want to miss this. So I asked if Sherry could tell us a little bit about her background so that you all have that information. So when you're sharing information about the leadership talk, the invitation to register. You have a little bit of background about Sherry. The article that I'm going to share with you does talk about her background, so you don't have to memorize all this, but I wanted to give Sherry an opportunity to talk about herself, and you all an opportunity to ask her questions. So Sherry, go ahead and tell us about, like, what do you know about Start With Why, and why are you such an awesome selection for this March talk?
Thanks, Christina. I'm excited about it. I started using several leadership books when I was working within ADOT. I was in charge of leadership development for ADOT the last several years that I was working full-time, and used that then going on into consulting. So I've worked with over 800 leaders within ADOT in doing this. And we started with this book, actually, with the director and all of the executive team, because it starts with why, and getting down to why things are important to you. We all have a why within us, why we do things. You always start thinking maybe what's in it for me, but at the end of the day, that has to fit into why you're actually wanting to be a part of something, or why you want to do whatever that is. And given the climate that we have today, with some fragmentation and difficulty that there is there, you can also imagine when you look at a state agency of 4,300 people that there's a lot going on within that. And there were 63 countries that were represented within that. So there was a lot of challenge within that in culture development, and looking at where we needed to start with everyone's why to do that. This was a great, simple book. It refers to leadership within that. If you're interested in Simon Sinek, and I'm certainly a fan of his, go to his website, Simon Sinek, and you can also pull up, there's an 18-minute video that he did on TED Talks that gives you a quick overview of where he started with all of this and how he was thinking within that. It's just a really nice template, nice infrastructure, and to get conversations going, to get some things out and get people engaged in what's going on and where we're going and why they want to be a part of it. You know, we all ask ourselves, because there's so little time, so many times, and in a state agency where there's so many things going on. It was, again, a very large agency with a lot of moving parts and a lot of things going on. So it was a way to start with that. I'm also going to have some other leadership books. Like I said, I was in charge of leadership development there, and I and a professor that I hired came in, and we worked with the leadership for 3 years on a specific format that we used. We want everybody speaking from the same glossary when you're in leadership, and ensuring that they are communicating the same way. It can't be everyone's own agenda to do that. And that takes a lot of time, and pulling people together and helping them understand their why, but also where you're going with that and how you're going to go about that. So laying out a proper plan within that. So I want to talk about that because our churches are struggling in many aspects from lots of things that are going on. And so engaging members, excuse me, especially in an environment like that, you know, when you're in an office and you're working, you get paid to be there. But we're all working with volunteers many times in everything that we're doing. So not only that, we have members that show up because it meets their why, or if it doesn't meet their why, then they stop coming. So you want to be able to tap into everything everywhere as much as you possibly can. But when you start showing that interest and understanding why someone else is there, why you actually care that they're there, and why you want to know what the needs are, then it starts bringing people in to the circle. People start talking, start opening up and feeling a part of something. And that's what it all gets down to, is being a part of that. So we can talk about all sorts of marketing and all the other things that you do, but at the end of the day, it's the leadership of an organization that has to feel the why within themselves, and certainly within churches, with our clergy, with our leadership. It has to meet their why, because they're the ones that are going to communicate who we are as the Methodist Church, and as we're going forward with lots of other things. So it's just a basis of a way to start a conversation in your church and your committee, in anything that you're doing. It's why, how, what. Because if you start with what first, this is what we're going to do, people will lose track of what's going on after a bit, because here's what we're doing, but I don't know why we're doing it. Or if you start with how, here's how we're going to go about this to get to what that what is. But nobody, after a while, you start again, you get tired, you've got other things going on, like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm a part of this. I don't know why this is important. So to keep continually going back to and engaging and bringing that out in people and getting that dialogue going is incredibly important, whether it's a not-for-profit organization, a church, if it's a company, if it's a leadership group, or what that is. It's important to do that. So long history of that, lots of leadership training, lots of team training, lots of working with executives and all of that, with certainly within ADOT, but long before that too. I have a background in not-for-profit management that goes back 100 years, I think. Like, I don't know when I started all that, but it was a long time of looking at. But not-for-profits are always struggling with proving why it's important for someone to pay the membership fee. And especially now today, we can engage with other people on the internet. We can engage with them in all other ways that you don't have to show up. Or do I even need to be a member? Because I can do research and find information elsewhere. I can find something elsewhere. So the challenge for not-for-profits is enormous today, where it used to be a great networking place. Now it's not the best Avis program anymore. It's really engaging people in what's in them and their why within that. So it's a huge challenge. Philanthropic organizations, foundations, sisterhoods, brotherhoods, all those people are trying to engage their people to come back. And it all starts with their own why. And yeah, I look forward to people being there. I've been marketing this, if you will, that to some of the groups that I work with within the church that don't always know what's going on with the conference, or that there are these leadership talks, or they can watch some of the others that are there. So tell your admin council, tell your chairs of your committees, tell the other people that are working within that, let them know the other resources that are out there on the conference website like this. And there's other great leadership talks that are sitting out there like that are certainly very beneficial. And I hope everyone joins me. And if not, then give me a yell if you have questions about any of it or any thoughts after that. I'll also have other leadership books that I'll recommend from that time. Thanks, Christina.
Awesome. Thank you. So, like Sherry said, this is one of those events that, sure, it's open to anybody that is from your church or your own friends and neighbors, whoever. But as the liaison, I highly recommend that you consider sharing this with your different ministry chairs. If you're United Women in Faith, your missions team, maybe even your pastor, if they're ever struggling with getting people to attend, getting people to show up or register, they should come to this specific leadership talk, but also you as a communicator. This one you don't want to miss because I remember, like, when I worked at the local church, and I deal with it now, I'm still a communicator, that sometimes you get information. Hey, it's like what Sherry was saying. Here's the what. We've got this annual event again. Can you put that in the newsletter? We want people to attend, put it everywhere. But it's the same information that was shared last year and the year before that and the year before that. It's just updated with the day and time. So, and they didn't have good numbers in the previous years. They've lost the whole, meaning the people that are supposed to attend, have lost, like, why should I attend? Why does this matter to me? Why does it matter to them? How's this going to make my life any better? So as a communicator, this is also going to help you to kind of put that spidey sense up or whatever, to, as you get information, to read through it and see, like, this doesn't say why. So you can go back to that person and say, well, pretend that I've never heard of you or your organization and sell this to me. Tell me why I need to be there. That will help me customize this so I can tell other people why they need to be there. So everybody, you got to come to this one. They're all great and the recordings are available online, but you just don't want to miss this one. All right. Thank you very much, Sherry. All right, so next item is about, counteracting bias training. Okay, so here's a great example of not sharing the why. So I'm going to start out with sharing, why are we doing this? Where is it? There we go. And I will provide this link for you all so that you have it handy. There we go. Okay, so in 2021, what you're looking at is a copy of the resolution that was passed at the 2021 annual conference. There was a lot going on with, well, I won't go into all the details. The point is just that at annual conference in 2021, it was resolved that every church in the Desert Southwest Conference would participate in diversity training. All of our clergy are supposed to participate in diversity training. So all the details are in here, and you maybe have seen, let me go to this page now, information about counteracting bias training at this church, at that church, but maybe it's not near you, maybe your church hasn't done anything like this. So communications liaison, this is another one. You've got to go and talk to your pastor about either which one should we start advertising to our church so that they can participate, go to that one that's 2 miles away from us or whatever. Or if there isn't one that's happening near you, you can use these buttons to request a training to happen at your church. It is completely free. The only cost would be if your church is hosting it. Maybe your church wants to offer refreshments. That would be the only cost to your church, but we don't charge any registration fees for people to attend these trainings. So again, every church is supposed to do this. If your church hasn't done something like this, start, I don't know, poking at your pastor to ask, when are we going to be doing, when do we need to do this? Here's the buttons to click to fill out a form so we can request a training near us, or here's the upcoming trainings that are happening. Which one of these should I advertise? All right, questions about that? And this resolution, by the way, is available on the bottom of this page. It's this one right here. So you can share that with your pastor if they push back and say something like, no, that has nothing to do with what we're doing. Like, well, at the 2021 annual conference, that was resolved, that was passed as a resolution for the Desert Southwest Conference, so we need to do this. Chris, I'm sorry, I didn't see, was your question just now open to everyone? Open to everyone. So it's for United Methodist Church people. I don't know.
Sorry, it's open to anybody in the congregation. You don't need to be.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you don't need to be leadership. Yeah. And if you scroll through here, you'll be able to see some articles about that some different people shared about their experience going through the training. So I don't know if that's helpful to share a little bit. At Sun City, they said this. All right, any other? And Julie shares that the legislation outlines a 5-year plan that our conference Commission on Religion and Race has for our clergy and laity to increase their cultural competency. One part is cross-racial, cross-cultural training for your pastors and SPRCs. It also outlines cultural competency training module 1, and the bias training is module 2. Any church can request a training to be held at their church. We request a minimum of 10 people. Again, it is free. So please let your leadership know about it, your lay leader, your pastor. All right. Any questions about that? Oh, wait, I can't see your hands. No, okay, no questions. All right, next item. Did I stop sharing? I did. Okay. Is the Desert Southwest United Methodist Foundation is going to host a leadership, let me share this one. No, not leadership, sorry. It's a fellowship room. This is something that's happening during the gathering. The gathering, if you haven't heard about it, is a required meeting. It's I think it's normally 2 or 3 days. It's for all clergy. They have to participate at the gathering. So if they aren't registered yet, they should get registered. And this year, the Desert Southwest United Methodist Foundation is hosting this fellowship room. I'm going to include this PDF in the follow-up email notes so you can share this with your pastors so they are aware what the fellowship room is so they don't miss it. you know, in addition to learning more about the foundation and having some relaxation events, there's the service project, and there's also the West Path consultation. So they'll want to stop by and check in, and you know, so if there's no questions about that one, like I said, I'm going to send this with you. I think that Board of Ordained Ministry is also sharing this via email, but I haven't received that confirmation for sure. You'll see a button in tomorrow's weekly digest to download this flyer, but I don't have an article or information about the why. So I couldn't publish an article for it, but the button will be available, but you're going to get this PDF today in the follow-up notes, so you can share that with your pastor. Any questions about that one? All right, then the next one is a grant writing webinar on February 27th. It is available via Zoom. The details and registration link is available on the conference calendar, but I'll give you the link to the article about it that has the link to the registration. I've mentioned this one before, and I'm not really sure how busy they have been with the registrations for it. It will be recorded, but it's so much better to attend live, because then you can ask questions, and specific questions to your ministry context. I know for me personally, doing the whole grant writing sounds like almost like, yeah, right, there's probably thousands of people, and what's the chance that our church is going to get it? You know, it's probably not even qualifying whatever ministry project that we had in mind, you know, whatever. Well, already, like I said, I don't know how busy they have been, but I know that already there's been some grants awarded to even one of our smallest churches. And I don't remember how much it was, but they announced it at the East and West District Leadership Conference. It was like in the tens of thousands that this church got. So it is possible. It really is happening. There are people out there that this is their job, is to find grants and write grants so that ministry gets funded. And we've got that connection, and your church doesn't need to pay for that. The Desert Southwest Conference New and Vital Faith committees have made those connections, and they're funding that. So all your church needs to do is fill out a form to say, here's what we need. And you don't even have to know which grant you want to apply for. But there are a bunch of options. I'm going to share my screen again to show you a little bit. I'm not on that one. It's this one. So if I were to go to the homepage, sorry about all this extra stuff. It's because I'm logged in, and so you see some of the nuts and bolts in there. And then I go to either the New Faith or the Vital Faith committee page. I'm just going to go to New Faith. And if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see in the resources section, it's not pathways process, registration form. Okay, maybe it's in the, I lied. It must be in the Vital Faith one. Or actually, if we even go to the process pathways, no, not that, sorry. Local demographics, get involved, join our mailing list. I thought it was right there. Well, let me just go to the free grant writing webinar article. This is what I'm going to send you all. And you can register for the webinar, but you can already just go ahead and request grant writing help. Which one was I on? Was I on New Faith or Vital Faith? Let me go to Vital Faith.
Christina, is this something that groups within a church could potentially take advantage of? For instance, United Women in Faith. If a United Women in Faith group within a church wanted to ask for a grant toward a particular mission project, is that something, or does it have to just be something that the whole church is going toward?
No, I think it can be a specific, whether it's United Women in Faith, it's your missions team, it's your, I don't know, whatever other team, Sunday school team. It's going to be their ministry. I mean, it is for the church, but it's the ministry itself that's getting funded. It's not the church. So
Okay.
any group could lead it. And as long as it is a group within a United Methodist Church, then it's possible.
I think
Right.
that's great information to get out to everyone, because I'm not sure everybody would think like that. I know we have a particular mission project up here that we've discovered an even greater need for the things that we provide to them, but there's a much larger need that we actually could make a huge difference, I think, if we could do something like that. So I really appreciate knowing this.
Great, thanks. So finally, I figured it out. So if you just go to dscumc.org/grants, which is linked here under the laity menu, it's probably under, no, it's not under clergy. So I guess just laity, got to look for the money. And so you can either use the buttons to contact them, to connect with a professional grant writer, and you can see the upcoming events for New and Vital Faith and information about grants. Here's the team, and there's all of these are grants that are available from different organizations. There's also loan information. Let's see, what do we have here? And there's all these other grants. These are all links you can click on to learn about the grants. So maybe you click on one of these links and find out about, oh wow, that there's money available for that ministry. That's one way to go about it. Find out about the grant first and then connect with one of these people, or use the buttons up here to get to the next steps of applying for a grant, or just use those buttons first, talk about your ministry, and they'll help you locate that grant. Right. Now I see I have something in chat. Is there something in chat? Yes. Chris Crafter sews, knits, etc., and donates almost all items to local charities. They could apply for a grant. I mean, anybody can apply for a grant. Will they get the grant? I don't know, but it costs $0 to apply. It costs $0 to work with these grant writers. So, you should do it. And those types of questions could also be asked and potentially instantly connected with somebody if you register for that grant writing webinar at the end of this month. So again, highly recommend that one. Alrighty. There's no other questions about that one. I will move on to the next item. So the final item is about annual conference. I did provide the deadlines already for the petitions and rule changes, which is February 28th. The resolutions deadline to turn in a request for a resolution, or the resolution itself, I guess, is April 30th. But I also wanted to kind of bring out to you communicators, the communication liaison, information about registering for annual conference. We're very likely to have a pre-conference briefing, and that's where you kind of get a preview of what's going to be shared at annual conference and an opportunity to ask questions about this resolution or this rule change. You'll be able to, people that attend will be able to connect with the presenters sometimes of the specific items. So it's really, really important for us to have the information, the names, the email addresses, the phone numbers of the lay members to annual conference from your church. Now is the time. It's not too early, not too late to get started on reaching out to your pastor, or is it the church secretary, whoever it is at your church that either fills out the local church officers form that you would turn in at church conference. I have a copy of those, and I can tell you that not every church filled out the lay members to annual conference. There are even some churches that did fill it out, but the contact information is just the pastor's information. So that's not helpful. Your church lay members to annual conference, your church's representatives were selected, elected, however it works out, to represent your church to vote on these resolutions and participate and bring information back from annual conference to your church. So this is a really important connectional moment here. If we don't have their names, email address, and phone number, we can't provide them with the information that they need to do the job that they were elected to do. They're going to be frustrated. They're going to, maybe get upset at people. Like, I haven't heard anything about this. When am I going to, and there'll be a lot more pressure on you as the communicator to make sure you've got the latest and greatest information to them. I'm still going to provide you all the information that I get to make sure you always have it available, but it's not always, I'm having Tuesday talks once a week. If we published the information, emailed it out on Wednesday, and your lay member to annual conference didn't get it, and maybe I remembered to talk about it on Tuesday talks, maybe I didn't. So, you get where I'm going. Like, it's really important to make sure that we have that information. Most likely your church has already turned it in. If you're here on Tuesday talks, you're trying to be connected. You're trying to make sure everything's being done. And it doesn't mean that if people that aren't here, I know that there's other meetings and other things that are happening that why people can't make it to Tuesday talks. I do get lots of emails from people thanking me for the notes and all that. So I'll include in the note a little message about, hey, check in, make sure that we have your lay members to annual conference. And if there's changes from now until annual conference, be sure to right away let us know who the new people are, what their contact information and names, contact information is. Okay, questions about that? Right, I'm sorry, this was a much longer Tuesday talks than we normally have. So if this is your first time watching, sorry, it's not normally this long. But thanks for sticking through the end. And I hope you have a great rest of your week and a beautiful Valentine's Day, Arizona birthday. Was it St. Paul's birthday? Any of those celebrations that are happening today, enjoy it. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.